Hi all, good morning, good afternoon or good evening. My name is Saurabh Dhyani, and in this particular video we'll talk about how you can take backup using SQL Server Management Studio. It'll be really quick, and I'm pretty sure you have seen other videos in this channel and in this particular playlist of Microsoft SQL Server. So to take the backup, we'll have to start our SQL Server Management Studio. If you don't have it, there's a video how to download it and how to install Management Studio, and we'll go ahead and start our process of taking backup. There are multiple ways, and I always prefer the GUI mode. So you can right click on the database that you want to take backup of and click on task, and then from task you'll see an option of backup. Once you click on backup, there are so many options. There are so many pages that you see here, 3 pages, and there are different options, and we'll go through most of them as per my knowledge and see what all we need to use during a backup operation. So the first one on the general tab is source, where the first one is database, where you select the source database for which you want to take the backup. So you can choose another one if you want. Then the second thing that you're seeing here is the recovery model of the database, which is already set on the database. And just to show you how things are different, I'll also open the backup of a database which I have set another settings. So if you see here, the recovery model of the another database is simple, whereas this has full. And based on the recovery model, you will see different type of backup types that are available, which is full, differential, and transaction log if you have a recovery model set to full. Whereas if you have recovery model simple, you'll only see full and differential, because there's no way that you can take a transaction log backup on a simple recovery model. So normally you will keep it full or differential based on how you want it. Then I never use this copy only backup, but you can read about it on MSDN by clicking F1 here if you're interested. And then coming down here is backup component. What you want to backup? Do you want to backup the whole database, or in full there is another option which is enable, that do you want to backup files and file group? And then once you check on that, it shows you all the file and file group which are available, and you can choose which file you want to take backup of. This option is not available on a simple recovery model database. Now the other section on the general tab is destination, which is where you want that backup to be stored. So there are two options, which is disk or URL. URL is used when you want to back up to a Microsoft Azure blob storage. If you choose that and click add, you will see options of adding details about Azure storage container and the file name. But most of the cases you'll use disk, and the same options are available here, disk and URL, in the simple model also. Once you are in the where you want to back it up, then you need to add the path where you want to add it. The default path actually comes from the last time from where this database was restored from. So I'll remove this, and then you can add the path where you want to take it. Once you click on add, it'll show you the option to add the details of the file name where you want to store it. The file name actually, the default path comes based on the settings that we have discussed in the previous video. When you click on these 3 dots, you can choose a different path if you want, or you can give the file name. Let's say this is demo db15, and then I always tend to keep it with the date, which is today 30 June 2020, and end with .bak as an extension for the backup. You click OK, you choose OK, and your destination path is set. So that was all about the journal tab. Let's go ahead and talk about the media options. The first section of it is only used when you are backing up on a media drive. So I haven't done it, so I'll not talk about this section. So let's come down to the reliability. The first one is verify backup when finished, and that's very important, that you need to make sure that your backup is complete and everything is correctly backed up. And then perform checksum before writing to media. That's again for the if you are writing your backup on a media drive, which I'm not doing, and I don't set continue on error. The truncate transaction log option, which seems disabled here, let's have a look on the simple one. They're still disabled. They get enabled when you are taking a backup where the recovery model is set to bulk locked, and we'll talk about what that means in the next video, maybe what different type of recovery models are. If you choose that option in that model, what happens is it takes the backup and after that it truncates the transaction log, which reduces the empty space, which reduces the space that is consumed by the transaction log file. Now let's go to the last one, which is backup options. Here you need to set the details about your backup that you're taking, which will be available while you use that backup for the restore operation. So by default it gives you the name and of the database and a full database as you're taking the full database. Let's change it then database backup on 30th 6/2020, and if you want you can add more details to it. Then the next option is backup set will expire. Now this option you can specify after how many days you want to set this backup to expire, and that it can be overwritten, and you can key in a value from 0 to 99999 days. A value of 0 means it will never expire, or you can choose a specific date when this backup should expire. So it's up to you. I normally keep it 0. That's what my need is. Then the other one is compression, which is set backup compression, and it have 3 options. Use the default server setting, compress backup, or do not compress backup. Now these 3 settings are a little bit tricky based on when you are taking the backup. So use default server setting, takes the default which is defined on your database server, that what kind of compression you want. And if you don't know how to set it up, let's quickly go through it. Right click on server, go to properties, go to database setting, and you can check here compress backup. If it is checked here, the database backup will always be compressed. Or even if it is not set over there and you want to compress it, you can choose a compress backup. But make sure that you know that you are choosing that option, because compression can increase the CPU uses and take time, and it may impact users if they are using the database. So if you are taking a compress backup, try to schedule it at the time when nobody is using the database. Or if you don't want to compress, then click on do not compress backup. So if you choose these 2 options, whatever is set at the default will not be picked and these settings will be picked. So I prefer compress backup because then I don't need to zip it using or compress it using other softwares. Once that is done, you can click OK and the backup operation will start. But the other thing to note is that if you are using this activity multiple times, you also see a button on top of it called script, and you can always script out whatever things you have written here so that you can just run that script going forward. So after you have done whatever settings you want to do, you can click that script button and say script on new query window. This will check what all options you have set and will give you a query that you can use to run going forward. So it's up to you how frequently you take backup. Do you want a query or not? But if you need, you can check it like this. But for this video, I've set these are the settings. Just quickly revisit before we click on backup. Journal what database you want, what type of backup you want, what content of the database you want to backup, where you want to place your backup. Do make sure that you verify your backup, and then if you want, add details of the backup. If you have an expiry set for the backup, you can set it here, and then do you want to compress or not. Once you are done, let's quickly go and see what's there on my backup folder. It's actually empty right now, so let's click on OK and see the backup that's placed there. So the backup has been completed. Let's go and see on the folder, and you can see that the backup is available here. Now it's 183 MB because I did set the compression. If I haven't, it'll be of a bigger size. So hope you understand something out of this, and this helps you to set up your database backups as you need. Let me know your views as comment to this video. If you want me to record on some certain specific topics of Business Central or Dynamics Nav, please put them on to comments. That's all for today. Thank you. Have a great day.